Hey there, my name is Pravus and welcome back to more Hearts of Iron 4. Who said achievement runs? Y'all said you want more achievement runs? Okay, I'm happy to oblige. I got one in mind today which should be pretty darn fun. It's called This Is Gonna Be Lit, which means we have to be playing as Lithuania, and the goal of this achievement is very straightforward. Own the capitals, or at least occupy the capitals of all of your neighbors. That would include Estonia, Latvia, Poland, and yes, also the German Reich. While we're at it, we might be able to pick up another achievement where we have to own the entirety of the Baltic coastline, which I think means we're gonna end up having to fight Denmark, Sweden, and Finland in addition to everything else, and of course, the Soviet Union. I don't think Norway counts on that over here, could be wrong on that front, but while I'm at it, if I get strong enough, maybe we just take on the entirety of Scandinavia and see if we can win. Anyway, this should be kind of fun for us. There's a couple different approaches, but I've sat down and gone through a lot of the national focus tree, read a few different opinions on Reddit, watched a couple of videos, and kind of put together what I think is going to be a decent build order to try and accomplish this achievement, especially while focusing down a non-aligned path, because I think that might be the best way to ramp up in power peacefully rather than go for fascism, though that is also a viable way to play the game. We're gonna be turning on Iron Man mode, and let's begin our achievement run. And here we are. Now, Lithuania is not exactly a powerful nation, especially at the beginning of the game, no doubt about it. We have very few troops, practically no supply whatsoever. As far as factories, I have 2. Yep, that's gonna work out great. I couldn't really bother building any civilian factories at this point because, like, who can fit any of them? I mean, like, I'm gonna get so little value out of 1 or 2 civilian factories over the course of the game, I might as well just ramp up with military. There's just nothing here. Lithuania is super duper weak, so you might be saying, well then how the heck are you planning on conquering all your neighbors? Fun little things you can do with the national focus tree, especially if you're willing to go down non-aligned, is start working toward monarchy. And with a monarchy, you can proclaim that there should be a kingdom in Poland, build up support for their throne, and then proclaim a Commonwealth. Annex all of Poland just like that. And all of a sudden, we have a more respectable, not powerful, but a respectable economy and military force with which I can bully the rest of the Baltic states up over me. And then we have a choice at that point. Do we go directly for Germany and then pray the Soviets don't go after me? Or do we more likely sit back, wait for the Soviets, grind them down, kill them, take everything they've got, and then with the entirety of the Russian economy, we go crush the Germans? Couple different ways that we can do it. For now, what I want to do is go for reconvene the Seimas, I think is how that's supposed to be. Get extra stability, get some political power. We have some new political advisors available, including a pretty decent one, who reduces the cost of economy and trade laws. I like that because I can go to partial mobilization a little bit faster. So this is gonna be pretty good for us. Let's go ahead and start by picking this sucker up. We could trade for a tiny little bit of steel, but I mean, I only have 3 factories to begin with, so I'm not really convinced it's gonna matter that much. Let's go ahead and bump up to speed 5. What kind of templates am I even looking at here? What is this? That is horrible. If you want to use up a freaking ton of artillery with no organization, by all means, go for it. This is even worse. What is this? Cavalry and infantry mixed? You don't even get the power of Spade. Lame sauce. All right, swap that all over. We don't have the equipment. Doesn't even matter. We're just gonna go ahead and have some basic infantry. I am almost certainly going to be relying very heavily upon infantry and artillery for this particular run. Might be fun to go down a mechanized build rather than tanks. And I have a reason I'm saying mechanized specifically. It's because there are at least a couple of different focuses in here, including something like this, the new kind of Iron Wolf, which can give me some extra stats and a research bonus to try and get up to that point. It's not bad. That said, Mechanized is a little on the expensive side, and until you get to Mechanized 2, it's not that much better, at least in terms of value over Motorized, so I mean, I don't know. We may just stick with exclusively infantry and artillery and get an air force going. I don't know. For now, let's just move forward since there's literally nothing to do until we have reconvened the Seimas. And we are just about done. Okay, so cool. We get a little bit of extra political power out of that, which is nice. I would say let's go ahead and pick up partial mobilization, but notice it's a lot more expensive with the whole Seimas thing going on here. Plus, I know that we're going to be able to reduce that cost a lot more. So let's go for Lithuanian preservationism next, which gets us even more political power. Plus, it reduces our political advisor and economy loss cost by 20% right over here, and we get some extra stability on top of that. This is pretty great. I want to stack up as many of these modifiers to reduce our cost for laws. If we're going to do that early anyway, let's just go ahead and try to get these before I even waste all my political power. There's just really no point in wasting it right now. Would like to get an advisor. I don't think any of these starting ones are good, and remember, these are expensive anyway until we get the preservationism, so you know what, we're just gonna hold on to our political power, we're not gonna do anything with it, we're gonna wait until this is done, pick up an advisor, then we can consider going for partial mobilization. In the meantime, we finish with electrical engineering and go for the mechanical computing as usual. So what are these modifiers we have here? So we've got here something called the low Iron Wolf threat, and the Iron Wolves have a lot to do with what's going on if you want to go for a fascist route, you know, the Iron Wolf youth and all of that. They're basically nationalist partisans that at some point we want to tame and put under control, and we could rush toward a route out the Iron Wolf and just remove this as a mechanic entirely. We can also try to make use of them, get some permanent bonuses for the rest of the run, and then get rid of them, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards. So I think that's going to be a better way to go. We've also got an agrarian society, which is crippling my economy. We are not modern at all right now. And we have an underfunded military, which is making our doctrines more expensive. And you can see here the same as don't look very good yet, but with the preservationism in place, they're actually going to turn into a net positive rather than the negative they have been up to this point. So I'm liking this. I want to pick this up in 3, 2, 1, boom. We got that one. All right, next. We are going to exile Voldemort, or rather Voldemaris, I guess. This is the guy who is currently, I think, leading and inspiring a lot of these Iron Wolf partisans. Weirdly enough, you can exile this guy, and then you can continue building up the Iron Wolves a little bit before you then root them out, but whatever, doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and get rid of this guy. He's going to retire. That is going to reduce the popularity of fascism by quite a lot. And now let's take a look at some advisors. Do we have anyone here that I like better? The backroom backstabber, no. Fascist demagogue, not going to go for that. Prince of Terror, probably not yet, blah, blah, blah. I do kind of like the agricultural nationalist. Interestingly enough, reduces fascism support despite the fact that he is a nationalist. Kind of going to build up some non-aligned by default, I believe. No, that goes down as well. Weird. I'm kind of okay with that because we're going to have a lot of different things that are going to boost up non-aligned anyway. What I really like is seeing the economy laws cost and the trade laws cost reduced. So let's pick that one up, and now we can go for partial mobilization, and it only costs 105. That ain't so bad. Let's go ahead and pick that sucker up, and under our research, Disperse is kind of my preferred choice here, so I think I'm going to stick with that, though. As a small minor nation, Concentrate is not bad either. I just anticipate that I'm going to end up being very large, and I really like efficiency retention. I know. In the long run, more overall output and stuff technically could be considered better, but like, I'm gonna be swapping techs so often, right, over the early and mid and even late game, I wanna be able to produce those right away rather than wait. So that's kind of what I'm leaning toward. There's some Iron Wolf partisans. Yep. So they're gonna continue moving up to a moderate iron threat. Not great, but this is why we have to exile this guy anyway. Don't worry about this too much, it's fine. It just means we're on the clock. Every few months, they get more dangerous until we find a way to get rid of them. By the way, can I change to free trade? Yes, I can. Let's go ahead and do that now. Or do I want to go for an aircraft designer? I think I'm going to go for free trade for now, but probably the next thing I want to get is an aircraft designer so we can research planes faster. Since we're not going to have the industry to develop tanks, I think that the only thing we want to invest ourselves in really heavily is going to be fighters and close air support because they're unbelievably good. We also do need to research trucks. Let's not forget that. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on that as well. And then, I can't remember, do we start with trains? We do not! Okay. Well, that's not an issue at this exact moment, but we're probably not going to have a very large stockpile of trains. So, in fact, we have none. So yeah, at some point we need to be getting some trains. Hey, look, nationalist Spain declares war. Cool. If I had a lot more political power, one thing I might even consider doing is sending an attaché down over here and try to get a little bit of extra XP. Not a bad idea. Could do that instead of the aircraft designer for a little bit. Is that what I want to do? I don't know, actually. Let me think about that for a second. Maybe Yeah, I think the sooner we take advantage of that, probably the better. Anyway, we've exiled this guy. Now, we could just go ahead and get rid of the iron threat entirely right now. Or we can replace the threat and make it an Iron Wolf volunteer, which gets me recruitable population for a bit. Don't get excited about this, though, because this is not sticking around. I'm going to end up getting rid of that with Root Out the Iron Wolf. So you might ask, why even bother picking this up in the first place? The reason is Lithuanian paramilitarists. We get, for the rest of the game, a permanent recruitable population bonus of 1%. And for a tiny nation, that can translate into a pretty hefty amount of extra manpower that I'm going to need. So I'm going to pick this one up and delay getting rid of the Iron Wolves. And then the question is, do we want to move on to a new kind of Iron Wolf? Again, knowing the Volunteers modifier is going away, do we want to have mechanized models, attack, and defense? I kind of want to try it, even though I think that mechanized probably isn't the best thing in the world. It might be fun to kind of mix that up instead of going for the motorized stuff. I don't know. We've got 100 political power. All I need is a little bit more command power, which is generating at 0.18 per day. Yeah, give it a few more days and we could send this attaché and just try to eke out a little bit of extra XP, which isn't bad. That does work, right? I don't really do this often enough. It's one of those things that I get like comments of people telling me, you ought to do this thing! And then I kind of like forget about it. But I'm pretty sure that's what I understand, is the attaché is supposed to get you some extra XP. There's the activist front, so the question is, do we go for the new kind of Iron Wolf? I think so, just for fun. Let's go ahead and pick that sucker up, then we'll root them out. We're making the Iron Wolves tame, and then we're gonna put them down. With this extra political power, I think now I am gonna go ahead and pick up the light aircraft designer, unless there's another advisor I'd rather have. But at the moment, I don't think so. We're not really taking advantage of any civilian factories, so that doesn't do me much good. Nothing else here really jumps out at me at this time. So yeah, let's go ahead and pick up the aircraft designer. That way, if I do want to start working on the next level of fighters and casts, and I think those are going to be the two next things that I'll research, we get that 15% bonus, and we're going to get a few nice little modifiers that make our planes just that much better. So we go for fighters, and we go for casts. Boom! Okay, that's great. Now we just sit back and wait once again. New kind of Iron Wolf finishes up right about now. Bada bada boom, let's go for Root Out the Iron Wolf, and it disables the Partisans mechanic entirely, and is going to reduce the fascism support in general. So we'll pick that sucker up. Then we're gonna be moving over to the monarchy route and see if we can start building up some support in Poland so we can take over their entire economy for free. Oh, I completely forgot once again to send the attaché. Let's go ahead and do... They will not accept? Why not? Base reluctance, too low opinion of us? What, you don't like me enough? I could probably fix that a little bit. I mean, yeah, it cost me a little bit of improved relations. I could do things with the Democrats over here instead, but I suspect we're going to get along a little bit better with the junta. The way the attaché is supposed to work... Oh, now they'll accept. Let's go ahead and do that and stop improving relations so we stop wasting anything. There we go. The way this is supposed to work is I think you get 25% of the XP generated by the host nation. So simply by observing them fight, we should start passively gaining a fair bit of army experience. Plus, I'm doing some army exercises, so we'll see if this ends up paying for itself or not. Maybe it does. We're a little bit low on that. Or late, I should say. Anyway, there we go. We've rooted out the Iron Wolf, which means no longer do we have to worry about the partisans at all. That is done. Hey, look, reform the Commonwealth. That sounds like fun. All right, so let's go ahead and work toward a king for our people. We are going to be known as the Kingdom of Lithuania. We'll get a new king, Mindaugas III, which gets me some stability and some war support. Always a good thing to have for an aspiring warmonger. I'm watching our army experience go up right now, by the way, and it's definitely going up way faster than our army exercises could possibly account for. So, I mean, I don't expect to get, like, a lot of experience in, like, the air and the navy category, though we are getting a little bit. But, I mean, hey, if this translates into me picking up, like, an extra 50 army experience or something like that, great. In fact, I hope this war keeps going for as long as possible. Keep generating that stuff. It's great. Okay, we have a king. Long live the king! Democratically elected king of Lithuania with overwhelming support. However, interference with the German Empire meant that the referendum was declared null and Lithuania never united with her king. Huh, interesting. But their son appears to be ready to ascend to the throne. Okay, so right now we do still have a democratic leader, but my flag changes, my color changes, and we are now the Kingdom of Lithuania. Excellent. So now we want to start working toward abolishing the presidency so that the king takes direct control, and then support monarchism in Poland, because then we can start doing a bunch of decisions that allow us to start building up a genuine claim to the throne of Poland and just unite everyone into the Commonwealth. So let's start by picking up the new noble class, which is going to get us even more political power gain and support for unaligned. Does increase the advisor and economy law cost, but who cares? Because I've already spent the power getting the economy law stuff I wanted, and I don't even see a lot of good advisors. So I got what I wanted. That's going to be our fighters and cast taken care of, by the way, so that's looking really good. It is April of 1937. We want to go ahead and continue working on things like construction tech, maybe some additional factory output, a little bit early to be picking up any additional research, and we'll finish these trains up in due time. So we'll go ahead and set fighters and cast up over here. After that, probably lots of artillery, followed by trucks and support equipment. Yeah, my economy's not exactly strong right now, is it? Not at all. That's okay though, it's gonna be completely fine. We just need to get Poland. Now, it's not guaranteed that Poland will simply join you, but if we build things up correctly, it should be reasonably likely to happen. It is gonna cost us a lot of political power. Basically, you have a bunch of decisions where you can do a lot of political actions to just try and start building up support. So we need to stockpile plenty of political power, but at the same time, I've already picked up pretty much everything that I want right now, so I don't feel like that's too much of a risk. That's gonna be fine. And then once I pick up the economies of Latvia and Estonia, that's gonna help a little bit as well. But that's kind of gonna be all we can look forward to for at least a while. Not very strong, just kind of strong enough that now we would have to hold off against the Soviet Union. But as long as Stalin is still in charge and his paranoia is running rampant, then by the time they're ready to declare war on me, I don't know, maybe I'll have an army ready to defend. Do I want to pick up somebody in the military high command just to kind of double up on some extra experience gain? Kinda, yeah. A theorist, probably not at this stage. We're not going for any doctrines at this exact moment, and I don't need anything like chief of army. Yeah, let's go for an infantry expert and just start racking up even more daily army experience gain. I mean, my experience since the No Step Back expansion came out and a lot of this stuff ended up getting reworked, like experience, it's hard to come by, man. You need as much as you can get, always, and I'm actually kind of liking how much we're, 15%, sorry, not 25%. I'm liking how much this attaché is getting us. So 15% instead of 20, and yet, I can still tell just looking at it, we're getting a pretty decent amount of extra army experience. By the way, Japan has declared war on China. Feels about on time. Actually, if anything, feels a little early, but I could be wrong on that. I actually just finished playing a Hoi 4 multiplayer game in a private stream with some of my top tier patrons, and I was playing as the USSR. Ended up being quite an interesting game, but Japan, for some reason, seemed to hold off like a long time on getting that war against China. So, oh well. Okay, we're gonna finish establishing the Royal Guards right about now. There we go, and that means we can move on to abolishing the presidency and ascend to the throne and take it over directly. The Soldier King, 10% division recovery rate. It's not a bad little extra bonus, not huge, but it's not bad. All right, now, one thing we could consider doing is trying to work down such things as rejoining the railways and trying to modernize our industry, and that is something I'm gonna wanna pick up very early on. This would allow us to, one, get rid of the agrarian society, so we have extra recruitable population and consumer goods reduction and factory output and civilian factories, which is great, but also rejoining the railways means we get more infrastructure in all of my, some of my cores. The thing is, I'm pretty sure that if we wait until after we pick up Poland plus the Baltic states, we'd get even more value out of this. I don't know if that's true, and I probably don't want to wait until I get the Baltics, for at least getting this, that's just too big of an advantage, but this would be pretty nice. Hi, Gim Gim. Oh, my little boy has decided to join us right now. Oh, isn't he a cutie? He recovered from surgery not that long ago, so he's been feeling a little out of it, but he's out of his cone, which means he's feeling a little bit better. Hi, bud, are you okay? You okay? You didn't really want to be up here, did you? Oh, your nails are getting long, bud. Yeah, we're gonna have to deal with that. All right, you go find Mama. Go find Mama, it's okay. Oh, I also got some free troops. I'll be honest, I kind of didn't know I was going to be getting those, but nice! They're elites too! Cool, do they get a special template? They do, actually. Oh, this is actually a lot closer to the exact template that I would want to have. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So we could actually possibly duplicate this sucker. Do we even have engineering tech? And I just realized, I don't know if we do. Did I just get that for free? I did. I don't even have engineers, but we've already got engineering companies. Huh, I wonder how that works out. Anyway, cool. We get a template that's actually kind of close to the end result that I'm looking for both defensive and offensive infantry. That should also save me a little bit of army experience. I'm loving it. Yes, you heard me correctly, people of Lithuania. Democracy is overrated. Who needs a president when we have a king? At the end of the day, it's redundant. They're both executive powers, am I right? I think so. Anyway, all right, so we got that sucker. Now we're gonna go ahead and support monarchism in Poland. Alternatively, you could try to claim Livonia and get a war goal against Estonia and Latvia, but I'd rather take Poland. There's a heck of a lot more power behind taking on Poland than taking on either of these states. Not to mention, if we annex them peacefully, I'm pretty sure we also get all of their troops. And that's a lot more military power with which to subjugate Latvia and Estonia, so like, why not? Now, as tempting as it may be, I am trying not to spend my political power. I want to do things with it. I'm itching to do things with it, but we shouldn't. We should hold off on that. Let's go a little bit ahead of time on the computing machine. That should be fine. Anti-air is probably something I'm gonna want. Also, we should get those engineers up and running. Also, I should get things like the infantry equipment and stuff. We need all of this. Let's see, anti-air. You know what, we can hold off on anti-air for a bit. Let's just go ahead and kind of keep shoring up some of the basics that we know we're gonna want. Radio, extra research speed, blah, 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 blah. 1938's not that important of a tech tier. 1939, on the other hand, you're gonna wanna have as much research speed ready to go as fast as you can. So I'm okay with going ahead of time on that one. Monarchism in Poland, that's gonna be good. Abandon your democratic ways. Wow, you are way more fascist than I remember. The heck? Okay, that's probably from what I just did though. I suspect that I just boosted that up a lot. Okay, anyway, cool. So that's gonna start building up. Now, we could start arming some monarchist militants, and I think that gives us like the option to send guns their way to try and build up support when a civil war breaks out. If a civil war breaks out, I don't think I'm worried about that. Instead, what I'm gonna do is go for the nation and its power, which is going to get us some extra political power gain as well as war support, and work down toward royal reform, which is going to get rid of the underfunded military and give us a competent military instead, which is going to result in a pretty massive swing in things like land doctrine cost, as well as reduced army leader cost, more recruitable population, and some army experience per day. We like all of that, so let's go ahead and focus on the nation and its people. Or power. Power, not people. Although the people have the power, I don't know, you get the idea. Anyway, decisions. Up over here, we're gonna go ahead and propagandize some monarchist sentiment in Poland. Get that a-rollin', and then other options would include some investment, but first I need some monarchy support. Yeah, once we get ourselves up to 25, we should see that we're gonna have more options if I'm willing to spend my political power to do that. I will pick up, I think, maybe one more advisor here. Or wait, actually, is this gonna make... no, let's just go ahead and pick him up. I need the army experience. We'll do this. I should be able to generate enough political power because I can't do anything with this until this is done anyway. So what is the goal? The goal is to get to Kingdom of Poland, which needs 80 monarchy support. So we're gonna have to wait here and do enough of these events to get them up to a full 80%. So you can see every 20 days, I gotta spend 50 political power. That adds up, because I don't have a lot of political power, but we're making it better with things like the nation and its power right here. Also, it looks like nationalist Spain might be just about done. They've captured Madrid, they finished off the Aragon Defense Council. Yeah, this isn't gonna last that much longer. They're doing some big assaults right now here too. We were able to get up to about 50 army experience though. Some of that's from my own efforts, but it wasn't that far off on an estimate for what we get out of this. So was that worth 100 political power? Would it have been better to save all of that so I could keep doing these events? It's a great question. I don't know the answer, but seems decent enough, I guess. I'm getting 1.45 political power per day. That's enough for at least a few things. I don't think this is worth it because we get 15 monarchy point for 100 instead of 20 for 100 if we just wait for the propaganda here, so we'll do this. But I could go ahead and try to get some Polish generals on my side, and I'll still be able to get enough political power to continue with the propaganda. So let's race our way up to 80. What else do I want to research over here? That's a good question. I don't even know. How about upgrades to things like radio and maybe research some anti-air just so I have the tech unlocked. Then after that, improvements to artillery and support companies, I guess. Seems good enough. I'm also doing some investments in Poland, which does take away my factories for a few days, but it does get me some monarchy support without costing any more political power, so I'll say that's probably pretty good. And nationalist Spain is Dunsky. Okay, 66 army experience by the end of it, and you can see that my army experience rate has declined quite a lot. Oh well, that's probably fine. So with this next round of investment and swaying of generals, that should be enough to get me up to 80 support. We did just finish with the royal reform, which is great, so even more political power is going on there. I could move on to another one of these right now, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna wait, because all we have to do is store up some of our national focus political power here for like, we can only store 10 days. I'm more than 10 days off, but I really want to go for the Kingdom of Poland event like immediately. So I think we're gonna do one more round of propagandizing so I get up to a full 100 claim strength, which greatly increases the odds of them accepting, but we're gonna do no focus until we are at 80%. And then by the time we finish with the next Kingdom of Poland focus, we'll be at 100% claim. At least such is the idea. So the investments are coming to fruition. Now we immediately move over here. We're a little bit off, yes. Other people are gonna be finishing their focuses about 10 days before me. But oh well, I still think that's worth it. Computing machine is done, moving on to some extra soft attack for our infantry. The Kingdom of Poland is only 4 more days away. And at this point, Poland is going to get an event, and they can choose to join us or not. It looks like they decided to go down a civil war route, but all they've got is Warsaw. So pretty much the entirety of the army has supported me, and they will be falling apart here pretty darn soon. Do we want to continue building up military factories? I wouldn't mind trying to get some civilian factories up and running now. So let's go ahead and build up a couple of these because we're about to increase our economy by a lot, which is going to make us get a lot more factories we can use to kind of build that up, and that's not as much of a waste of time. So we've got all of that set. I think the next thing we can do is probably go for rejoin the railways, or depending on if these guys are able to finish in the next 10 days, we could just make a beeline for restore the Commonwealth. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. We don't want to go for this. I haven't claimed Poland yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. This is the next thing we want. So here's hoping these guys finish this war up in the next 10 days. Shouldn't take that long. That's it. Okay, so we're done there. Now, we have to wait for it to process that they're done with the war, or not. Kingdom of Poland, restore the Commonwealth. Hold on. Poland is a subject of Lithuania. Well, they're not my subject, no, but I'm confused. I thought this was supposed to be it. It still says they're at war. Who the heck else are you fighting? I'm confused. The game needs to process here. Hello? This should be over. That should be it. We should be done. There it is. I don't know why that took so long. All right, restore the Commonwealth. Bada freaking boom. They're my puppet now. But now we're gonna fully annex them, and I will become, once again, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Just a little bit more, and boom! The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth has been reborn into this world. Now I have manpower and an army and an economy that actually is able to do some work. Excellent. Let's go ahead and rearrange some armies. I do have a lot more templates to work with. I might keep the Mountaineers at least temporarily. I doubt that I want to keep any of these little infantry templates, and I probably don't want to keep their cavalry. Or rather, I see that we have cavalry brigades. I don't see a template for them, though, which feels a little bit bizarre. But okay. Anyway, now that that's all been cored, let's go ahead and move on to rejoin our railways. We're going to start by modernizing our economy. Then we might consider going for the claims in Latvia and Estonia. You might think, hey, let's just kill them as fast as possible. But actually, it's kind of to my advantage for them to finish up some of their focuses first and maybe get themselves a few extra... You guys actually decided to go down this route. Maybe get themselves a few extra factories like this. I want them to finish these sort of things up first before I kill them. That way I get the maximum effect, because I'm not the one who's able to build these factories by doing their national focus tree. I can only do one at a time, but by waiting, it's almost like I'm doing 2 more. Does that make sense? Kind of. Anyway. All right, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If so, I would ask you hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and the notify bell. And I will see you guys next time.